days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Training camp battles continue because there's still positions where the 49ers are going to have people competing not just for key roles, but also depth reasons. And the 49ers have that happening at running back as well. They've added some nice young players to the competition, whether it was last year adding Isaac Guerendo, which I think was a great addition, or during the end of the season last year adding Israel Abanikanda, who comes over from the New York Jets. And of course, we know Robert Sala is very familiar with him. Brant Boyer, very familiar with Abanikanda. But then you also added this year Jordan James and Corey Kiner to already go with a guy you added last year and Patrick Taylor Jr. So the 49ers have a really unique running back room because I think the players kind of balance each other out. Some of the strengths of one, counteract the weakness of the other. And so the 49ers are putting together a stable of running backs that really complement each other. But they've only got enough roster spots for some, because we know that Christian McCaffrey is going to make the 49ers 53-man roster. We know that Kyle Juszczyk is going to make the 49ers 53-man roster. Guerendo is going to make the 49ers 53-man roster. Probably close to a lock, Jordan James. But what exactly are their roles going to be? What exactly is a guy like Jordan James going to add to this team? And can guys like Abanikanda or Patrick Taylor Jr. or Corey Kiner make this roster? Because there's a likelihood the 49ers are going to keep 5 running backs, 4 halfbacks, and Kyle Juszczyk at fullback. And there's particular roles that are carved out for these young guys. They have envisioned a certain role for each player. And that's what we're going to get into. What are the roles for each one of these guys that kind of determines what sort of competition they're in? And we've seen this in the past with the 49ers. Just because you were drafted in a certain position doesn't mean that you're going to be the running back that ends up becoming that big-time star or becoming the guy that gets those reps. We've seen it too much. There was Trey Sermon. There was Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell was the one who came out on top. Of course, you had TDP, and then you had Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason undrafted. Jordan Mason comes out on top. So we've seen these situations. We've seen undrafted free agents, guys like Jeff Wilson, step up and get opportunities. Guys like Raheem Mostert or Matt Breida. It doesn't matter where you were drafted when it comes to playing for Bobby Turner and playing for Kyle Shanahan. But it does matter what you're able to do with the ball in your hands in particular situations. That's what we're going to talk about today. All the battles that are going to be happening in training camp at the running back position in this episode. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're listening on an audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe Network, please give it a 5-star rating. And of course, if you are going to bet with Bet Online. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing and football season around the corner, Bet Online has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From MLB, UFC to tennis and NFL futures, Bet Online remains your choice for sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the Bet Online casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. Bet Online, the game starts here. So the normal thought process is, right, this guy's competing with that guy, and whoever's the better running back is going to make this football team. But I don't think that's entirely accurate when you're building a roster. There are certain types of roles you need within your offense, and you have certain guys that have those skills. So sometimes it might not be the most complete back. It might be a guy, especially when you're talking about depth, that adds something in an area. For instance, let's say that you need a third down back. Well, if there's one guy that's better at being a third down back and you already have somebody else that's pretty good in short yardage, you might elect to keep the third down back to kind of keep a little bit of balance when it comes to your running back room. Or you could have a guy that's really good at running the football in short yardage situations, and that's what you need. You don't have one of those guys. You have two really good third down backs, but you need that guy that can kind of pound it in there and get those extra yards, get first downs, get touchdowns for your football team. So it's not just who's the best running back. In a perfect world, yeah, you could say, hey, I just want to keep the four best running backs to go along with Kyle Juszczyk, and we're going to be ready to roll. But in some cases, especially with the depth part of your roster, you're looking for guys that can do something that maybe the other guys can't, but also can add to your special teams, because Brad Boyer is going to have his eyes on a lot of these guys. Some of them are familiar to him. A guy like Israel Abanikanda, he coached him with the New York Jets. He knows what Abanikanda's skills are, and we'll be talking about him a little bit later and on a future episode where I'm going to talk about special teams training camp battles, because there are some very unique battles when it comes to the special teams that are going to be very important for this 49ers football team. But let's get it started talking about Christian McCaffrey. And there is no question that Christian McCaffrey is going to be the number one running back. He's going to get the most reps at running back. The 49ers are still going to run this offense through Christian McCaffrey in the run game. And yes, the question mark is always, how much is Christian McCaffrey going to carry the football? How many reps is he going to be getting? I do believe that as long as this running back room elevates itself to where we believe it can, whether that's Isaac Guerendo, Jordan James, or whoever the other guys are that are going to fill out this roster, there is an opportunity for there to be some less snaps for Christian McCaffrey, for less opportunities, because they are going to want to keep him fresh as the season goes. Load management is going to be a real thing, but we do know Christian McCaffrey is going to want to be on the field as much as possible. And when you have a weapon like that, you want him on the field as much as possible as well. So you've got a situation where coaches and player want him on the field as much as possible. But I do think whether it's 5% or 7%, there's going to be a little bit less reps for McCaffrey. I think some of those are going to fall on to the players behind. I think this is where the battle starts. You've got Isaac Guerendo, and Guerendo was very good last season. There were elements to his game where he exceeded expectations. I think we knew that he was a 4-3 running back, but I think seeing it out there in some of the whole shot runs that he was able to produce last season, big long runs to seal football games, the explosive nature to get big gains and change field position, to change momentum on drives, create scoring opportunities, I think was really good for Isaac Guerendo. And I think that the 49ers feel like they could build off of that. You're talking about the return of a explosive nature to this offense that, you have with McCaffrey, but with McCaffrey, there's a good chance he's going to get ran down. He doesn't have that explosive speed, that whole shot change the game with a long rushing touchdown that Guerendo has. So there's a little bit of an added element to Guerendo being in there. The question marks about Guerendo going into his rookie season had to be, number one, how is he going to be as far as vision? Seeing the hole, getting downhill, getting vertical, and making that proper cut. I thought it was a mixed bag for Isaac Guerendo, which leaves him a little bit vulnerable to losing some reps. Not because of his athleticism, but because of that vision. Now, I do see a case where Guerendo is going to continue to get better. Number one, he's working really hard. If you look at all of his offseason work, it has been extensive. He's doing his best. He's been working with Frank Gore. He's been making sure he's out there educating himself, getting better, putting his best foot forward to do everything he can to be the best possible running back he could be. Number two, he's at least healthy right now, and that's one of the keys, one of the question marks about Guerendo last year. So you had the vision concerns, you had the injury concerns. I think he's working on both. I believe with the work he did with Frank Gore and the coaching of Bobby Turner, that Isaac Guerendo's vision is going to be better this season, which means he might be more accomplished when it comes to running the outside zone. Last year, Guerendo was more successful when it came to running in the inside zone, where you're running and your vision is more straightforward and you can make that cut accordingly. With the outside zone, you're moving horizontally. You're moving towards the sideline and you're reading vision and you're having to see it and get vertical as soon as you see it. And sometimes you can stretch it too far to the sideline. Sometimes you can cut and there not be a hole there. You're anticipating a hole. There's no hole. And that happens sometimes when you're expecting a block to work and it doesn't. So getting that feel, getting that vision, it really happens when you get more reps. So one, you're pushing to the line in scrimmage with the inside zone, pushing to those offensive linemen's heels before you make your cut. Outside zone, you're pushing it outside and you're waiting for that opportunity with patience. So I think Guerendo is going to be much better at that. But I think that is the vulnerabilities, right? Those elements, you add on the fumble concerns, a couple of fumbles last year. That's definitely something that creeps into any sort of conversation about a competition at running back two, because Kyle Shanahan likes running backs who hold on the football. It's one of the reasons he loved Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell never put the ball on the ground. He was secure with the ball in his hand. So those are some of the things that Guerendo needs to get better at. Now, the things that he was really good at are what's going to help him be a part of a lot of the conversations. Number one, he is a 3-down running back. And what do I mean by 3-down running back? When you get to third down, you have to be able to do a couple of things. If it's short yardage, you've got to be able to be a big enough guy to get a little bit extra yardage. Guerendo has shown that he can do that. I don't think he's going to be the 49ers' best short yardage running back, but I think he has the ability to help get you a first down if needed. Second of all, he can pass protect. It was a mixed bag last year in his rookie season, but I think that's to be expected with the rookie running back. He did, though, show that he has the potential to be able to be a consistent blocker when it comes to pass protection. So I think he can do that. That's one of the key elements, right? Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to have to put Kyle Juszczyk in there to be your third down back. And we know McCaffrey's going to do it the most part, but there's going to be some opportunities this year. We talked about it, 5-7% less carries, less times on the field for McCaffrey. So Guerendo could get some of these reps. And then the third part is you have to be able to catch the ball in the backfield as a third down back. And Guerendo proved last year that that's one of the areas he's going to continue to excel at. A background when he was in high school, playing wide receiver, and now getting into the NFL and having the ability to catch the football, and he's dangerous in space. So I think that Guerendo's got an opportunity here. But the 49ers definitely are going to thrust Jordan James into this competition. One of the things that John Lynch talked about was his ability to catch the ball in the backfield at his pro day that really got their attention. And it wasn't something that Jordan James was consistent at. He had a lot of drops last year at Oregon. Now, when he did make catches, it looked really good. The guy's dynamic in space, got the ability to get some extra yards after contact. So there's some things to like there. I believe Jordan James, of the guys that we're talking about, is another guy that has 3-down potential. You could play him on first, second, and third down. I think he's going to get better in pass protection. Right now, I don't think he's a complete player when it comes to pass protection. There are some things that he does. He likes to go low, doesn't take on players as well because of his stature. So he needs to get a little bit better when it comes to pass protection. But I wouldn't say it's a lost cause either. And so that's why I think he is in for running back 2 reps. And as Christian McCaffrey's being monitored at training camp, this is why I'm leaving this as a 2-man race potentially for running back 2, is there's going to be extra reps, right? When Trent Williams is out, it's Spencer Burford, right? Those guys are going to get reps over there. When it's running back and Christian McCaffrey's taking extra time off during training camp, it's going to be Guerendo, it's going to be Jordan James. And we're going to get a good idea of how this thing is going. Now, I fully expect Isaac Guerendo to be running back 2. I just think that there's going to be some reps for Jordan James at running back 2 when Guerendo's getting running back 1 reps. And I think that this is an element where Jordan James is sent here to push Guerendo, and Guerendo's going to have to push back. Now, one of the key roles that's going to be determined by a really good competition is going to be short yardage back. And I talked about Guerendo having the capabilities to do it. You know, he's 230 pounds, and he plays physical. He had some red zone touchdowns last year. But I wouldn't say that is his best element. Short yardage, Christian McCaffrey does a pretty good job at it. Guerendo does okay at it. I think that's an area he could definitely get better at. And a lot of that has to go with pad level. Sometimes he runs a little high, especially on short yardage. He counts on that big body just to fall forward. But when you're going against other really big bodies, especially in short yardage situations, and they've compacted everyone into the box, there's less room and also less contact that you can win physically. You have to find little creases, little areas to get your shoulders, skinny and get through and get those extra yards. So That is something that I think Garendo might kind of slide out of, and why the 49ers may have targeted Jordan James. I do believe they think he could be a complete back, but I think they see him right now as a player that can add something to their roster, because last year in 2024, when they would get to short yardage situations, especially when Jordan Mason was out, Garendo struggled in those situations, and the 49ers offense struggled without Christian McCaffrey. Part of the reason the 49ers offense was so good in 2023 in the red zone was the versatility of Christian McCaffrey, right? You have to account for him in the passing game and the run game, but how effective he was in the run game. Go back and watch the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions, and you will see Christian McCaffrey making big-time plays in the red zone where the offensive line did a good job, but he ran through arm tackles, he ran through shoulder tackles, and was able to keep his balance and get in the end zone. They were missing that, especially with Mason out. When you add Jordan James, you add a guy who has the capabilities to do that. 31 touchdowns, most of those coming in the red zone, from a guy that is very in tune with finding creases and finding little holes to be able to get extra yardage. He's a very good red zone runner, but also a very good short yardage runner. So he's going to have the ability to make some real plays for this football team. So I like the fact that they added Jordan James, and that's what I was talking about earlier. If you look at the makeup of the roster, right, you got Christian McCaffrey. He's the unicorn. He's the complete back. He can do it all, and he can do it all in ways that nobody else can even touch. Then you've got the whole shot back in Isaac Garendo, the speed that you're not really going to find on this roster. There's one guy that's really fast. We'll talk about him in a minute. But you got this guy that can be explosive with every single carry, who also shows the ability to play on third down if McCaffrey needs to come out. Then you've got Jordan James competing for the short yardage situation. That's something he's really good at. So even if you just knew that's all he was going to be good at early as he develops under Coach Bobby Turner, you know that you're adding something to your roster that really complements the other guys there, right? He complements Garendo because Garendo's not as good short yardage. And I hope Garendo gets better because he's got the ability to be a elite complete back too. But I just love the fact that they're adding Jordan James. Now, they didn't just add Jordan James because they already had Patrick Taylor. And we've seen Patrick Taylor be able to get some of those short yardage opportunities and make them successful last year. It didn't matter what game it was in. He was able to get those yards and produce on the field. And there's nothing that's elite about Patrick Taylor, right? He doesn't have elite speed. He doesn't have elite size. He doesn't have elite vision. But what he is a pretty consistent player. And he's a guy that if you need a yard, yeah, you could turn around and hand him the football. You have a pretty good chance of getting it. I wouldn't say he's as good as Jordan James running on the interior. He's definitely not as good as Christian McCaffrey, but he's got the ability to do so. He's also a back that you could sneak him out, throw him the football, he'll catch it. So he's got the ability to be a three-down running back, but I don't think the 49ers see him as a dynamic three-down back. He doesn't have the elite speed, anything that's going to pressure a defense when it comes to getting to the sideline, that sideline-to-sideline speed. So I think he is more kind of locked into that short yardage situation and occasional step in on third down and block. So if you had a situation where, maybe Garendo needed a break, McCaffrey's out, whatever, and you needed a guy to step in on third down and block for Brock Purdy, yeah, that's something Patrick Taylor could do. He also adds on special teams, which means he's going to be on Brant Boyer's short list for guys that he wants to have, on this roster because of his ability to play special teams. So he's got that element. But I think if Jordan James hits, it makes Patrick Taylor a kind of a situation where Patrick Taylor could be off this roster, right? It makes him a fringe player because he kind of does some of the same things. And then you throw in Corey Kiner into the mix, and that's one of the things people are talking about, and I appreciate all the comments. Hey, is Corey Kiner going to make this football team? And the real answer to that is I just don't know. I think when you look at the roster, there's an opportunity for him to make it. There's a competition at the end of the roster. Now, Corey Kiner's another guy that's a lot like Jordan James as far as stature, size, and speed. And he's another guy that wins with contact balance. Both Kiner and Jordan James, when they get contacted, they fall forward for extra yards with that forward lean. That is a trait that running backs have to have in the NFL if they're going to be consistent and have longevity in the league, but also that running back coaches love. Because when you get hit at 2 yards and all of a sudden you fall forward for an extra yard and a half, and now it's a 3.5 yard carry, that's significant in the NFL. That extra yard and a half changes situations, right? Let's say it was 2nd and 5, and all of a sudden you got 3.5 yards. A 3rd and 1.5 is a lot more significant than if you wouldn't have got that extra half yard, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and 3. That changes your call. Can I run the football? That might be a little bit of a stretch. Yes, I can, but it's hard to get 3. So now I'm wanting to throw the ball, and it's a short passing game. So those little things like that change up the game, and guys like Kiner and Jordan James kind of give you that opportunity. And I think he's in the mix for the short yardage type of back as well because of that. So he's adding to this competition as well. And another guy that could make it tougher for Patrick Taylor to make this team is Corey Kiner, because they said they had a draftable grade on him, which means they were high on him. And we've already talked about the fact that sometimes it's been that second running back, Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round pick, Jordan Mason, an undrafted free agent, that has really hit. And they've usually been the guys who are thought to be very physical at the point of attack, and Kiner's kind of one of those guys. So you have a short yardage competition between Jordan James, Corey Kiner, and Patrick Taylor Jr. And I think that Jordan James is the leader in the clubhouse, but this might be where Patrick Taylor gets edged out if Corey Kiner can prove he's one of those guys too. Now the question will be, can Kiner prove he can do other things as well? Can he prove that he can catch the ball in the backfield consistently, that he can run the outside zone and show the vision and show enough speed to get where he needs to get? Now, one of the things about the outside zone, you don't have to have 4.3 speed, right? You don't have to be Mostert or Breida. That helps because it puts pressure on defensive linemen to not fall behind when they're tracking you. But without speed, it's okay too, because those guys can overrun. You can get offensive linemen in certain spots. It's all about patience. It's all about timing and just getting to your landmarks in your run game. So remember that as well. Now, another competition that's going to be interesting is just going to be who ends up getting some third down opportunities. I talked about Garendo. I think Jordan James is probably in that mix. I talked about Patrick Taylor, but I think with the mix of running backs, you're probably not going to have as much opportunity at third down back. But this is where Israel Abanaconda comes in, because this is a guy that can catch the ball in the backfield. He's a guy that runs a 4.4. He's the closest when it comes to speed to Isaac Garendo of the running backs on this roster. An explosive player when he came out of Pitt. Now, he did not get a lot of opportunities when he played for the New York Jets. And honestly, part of the problem is he just couldn't take advantage of opportunities. And they kept adding running backs as well. They just kept adding more running backs. I mean, just last year, they added Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis to compete with Abanaconda. So he didn't have as many opportunities, and that kind of flipped him into a situation where it was special teams or bust for Israel Abanaconda. And so I think that he's got another opportunity to make this team, and he can be a third down back, but he's going to have to compete with Jordan James and with Isaac Garendo. And I think that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough sledding because we do know the 49ers are going to feel comfortable with Garendo. And Abanaconda, they were willing to put in a waiver claim for him, so they know he fits the system. I was huge on him coming out of college because I believed he had the whole shot ability. He's got pretty good vision. He's got good contact balance. He runs through arm tackles. Just go watch even his Jets. Just click on the highlights for a second, and you can see kind of what he could be. All right, those are his top plays. Now, the consistency, if you go watch film, is not going to be there, and that's been the issue. But you see some of the ability to run through arm tackles, break tackles, get extra yards, and then he has the speed to be able to take it to the house. And so Abanaconda is an interesting guy because he's also not a small guy. This guy plays at 220 pounds. So he's big running back. He's bigger than Kiner. He's bigger than Jordan James, right? He's up there. He's the next biggest guy to Isaac Garendo. And so it's unique that the two biggest running backs on the San Francisco 49ers football team are also the fastest running backs on the 49ers team. So this one's going to be interesting. I think Abanaconda is somebody that Bobby Turner really liked, and that's why they brought him in last year. They've kept him around, so he's going to have an opportunity. But this is going to come down to a final roster spot, because I do believe you're going to have, of course, Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk, which means Garendo and Jordan James get 2 of those spots. One roster spot for a competition between Patrick Taylor Jr., who's the veteran of the group, Corey Kiner, the undrafted free agent, and Israel Abanikanda, who the 49ers got off waivers last year. Now, the one thing about Abanikanda that's interesting is he did play for the Jets last season, which means and seasons prior, he played for both Robert Saleh and he played for Brant Boyer, which means that this is an article last year when it came to the New York Jets, and I got to give credit to the Jets press for this, but special teams might be the ticket to Israel Abanikanda's making the 53-man roster and earning a role on the team. The Jets drafted 2 running backs, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, to compete with Abanikanda last month. As a result, his roster status is in jeopardy. Now, he's going to have the opportunity. He was going to have the opportunity to compete in 2024 because in 2023, he struggled. He had 2 kick return attempts in 2023, and he fumbled on one of those. That is going to be the question mark when it comes to special teams, and we're going to talk about that in another episode with Abanikanda, but that is an avenue for him to make his team, because when you get to the last running back, right, Patrick Taylor is a guy that helped in kick return last year. He's going to be given an opportunity. They're probably going to give Corey Kiner an opportunity and Israel Abanikanda an opportunity to prove that they can help when it comes to the return game. So these guys are going to be locked in a matchup. Patrick Taylor Jr., the veteran, who can pretty much do it all. He can play short yardage. He can play third down back. He can get you some normal reps. We've seen him start a game and be effective for the 49ers. Like I said, he's complete. It's not dynamic, but he's got the skill set to be able to handle a lot of things for the 49ers. You've got Corey Kiner, who the 49ers were high on, who signed him as an undrafted free agent. That is very close to Jordan James. These guys are very similar in stature, size, speed, abilities. I don't think he catches the ball at the backfield as good as Jordan James or as good as Patrick Taylor, Israel Abanikanda. I think that that's one element to his game that he needs to get better at. But the contact balance is great. He could do well in short yardage. The pass protection needs to get a little bit better. So there are some question marks there. Abanikanda is the wild card because he has all the potential to be a very successful back in the NFL. Potential only takes you so far, though. And this is it, right? This is where the rubber meets the road for Israel Abanikanda. And I think that there's a chance that Abanikanda and Patrick Taylor Jr. end up on the 49ers practice squad. With Patrick Taylor Jr., that happened last year. They released him, and remember, he's a vested veteran, so he can be released, and he doesn't have to clear waivers. He can just go right back to the 49ers practice squad. They can just sign him. So there's a chance, if the 49ers want to keep Abanikanda or want to keep Corey Kiner, that they will release Patrick Taylor and add him to the practice squad with him knowing we're going to elevate you. And he knows that the 49ers will bring him to the active roster. Last year they did, and he had a lot of opportunities. So Patrick Taylor, I expect to be on this team in some manner, but making the 53-man roster, I can't say that that's for sure going to happen. So Kiner versus Abanikanda is going to be one of the best battles at training camp. And I think it's going to come down to who can be the most consistent. Can Abanikanda's ability to catch the ball in the backfield, his dynamic playmaking ability in space, the vision, the good cuts, can that outweigh, right? The dynamics of it outweigh Kiner's ability to get short yardage, to fall forward, to make the right reads. How much better is he going to get in pass protection? It's going to be key. And of course, hanging over both of them is their special teams element, because more than likely, the special teams element is what helps them get on the roster. And even then, they might not even be active on game day. So this is going to be a fun one. I'm really excited about the running back position because I love the fact there's a lot of young guys with talent that the 49ers have added over the last couple years. And now they're going to go out and compete. And I think there's some unique opportunities for them to compete on this football team. Let me know in the comment section down below who you believe is going to win these battles in the running back room. Who's going to be the short yardage back? Who's going to be the third down back when it's not McCaffrey? Because we know McCaffrey can do it all. Let me know. And then who wins that final spot? Corey Kiner, Israel Abanikanda, Patrick Taylor. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're listening audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe Network, please give it a 5-star rating. This episode was brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.